Sarah Mitchell woke up at 3:47 a.m. to find a 7-foot-tall alien standing at the foot of her bed, holding what looked disturbingly like a medical scanner, its purple skin luminescent in the darkness of her Boston apartment. She did what any rational person would do in that situation. She screamed. Then she grabbed the lamp from her nightstand, a heavy ceramic thing her mother had given her, and hurled it with impressive accuracy at the intruder's head. The alien caught it one-handed without even looking, which was somehow more terrifying than the fact that there was an alien in her bedroom in the first place. "Sarah, please," the alien said in perfect, unaccented English, her voice calm and oddly familiar. "You need to calm down. You're going to wake your neighbors, and explaining this situation to Boston PD would be extremely complicated for both of us." Sarah opened her mouth to scream again, but something in the alien's voice, the patience, the slight exasperation, the tone of someone dealing with a familiar problem, made her pause. "How do you know my name?" she managed, her voice shaking. "I know a great deal about you, Sarah Mitchell. Age 32, works as a software engineer for Tech Dynamics, allergic to shellfish, tends to stay up too late reading science fiction novels, has a recurring stress dream about showing up to meetings in pajamas." The alien set the lamp down carefully on the dresser. "And before you ask how I know these things, I should probably mention that I've been doing this to you nightly for approximately 15 years. Sarah's mind went blank, then it raced, then it went blank again. "Doing what to me?" she whispered, genuinely afraid of the answer. The alien, who appeared feminine in general structure despite being clearly non-human, moved closer, and Sarah instinctively pressed herself against the headboard. The alien stopped immediately, her violet eyes showing something that looked like concern. "Medical monitoring," she said gently. "Nothing invasive, nothing harmful. I've been checking your health status, brain activity, stress levels, and general well-being every night since you were 17 years old." That's insane. That's completely insane. Why would you?" Sarah's hands were shaking. "What are you?" "My name is Lyra Thulsaran. I'm a xenobiological researcher from the Zelathi Confederation. And you, Sarah, are part of a long-term study on human development and adaptation to environmental stressors." "A study?" Sarah's voice was flat. "You've been experimenting on me." "Observing," Lyra corrected quickly. "Not experimenting. I've never altered anything about you, never introduced any variables, never interfered with your natural development. I simply watch, monitor, record data. For 15 years. Yes, every night. Yes." Sarah felt hysteria bubbling up in her chest. "And I never noticed. How is that possible? How did I sleep through an alien standing over me with medical equipment every single night for 15 years? Lyra had the grace to look slightly uncomfortable. "We have technology that induces a deeper sleep state. You remain unconscious during my visits. When you wake, your brain processes the experience as normal sleep, filing away any sensory irregularities as dreams." "The dreams," Sarah breathed. "Oh my God, the dreams. I've been having these weird dreams about someone watching me, about medical exams, about feeling safe but also monitored. I thought they were just anxiety dreams about health insurance or something. They were impressions leaking through the sleep induction. It happens sometimes, particularly with subjects who have strong pattern recognition capabilities." Lyra's expression softened. "You have unusually robust neural activity, Sarah. It's one of the reasons you were selected for the study." Sarah's scientific mind, trained through years of debugging code and solving complex problems, began overriding her panic. Questions started forming, sharp and demanding. Selected how? By what criteria? What's the purpose of the study? Who else knows about this? Are there others like me? What have you been doing with the data? And why? Her voice rose again. Why are you telling me this now? If you've been successfully monitoring me for 15 years without me knowing, why reveal yourself? Lyra sighed, and it was such a human gesture that Sarah felt momentarily disoriented. Because the study is ending. My research grant expires in 3 days, and I'm being recalled to the Zelathi homeworld. I'm required to debrief all subjects who were monitored beyond the 10-year threshold. Debrief. You make it sound like I worked for you. In a sense, you did. Unknowingly, but your data has contributed significantly to our understanding of human resilience, adaptation, and psychological development through young adulthood into full maturity. Lyra pulled out a small device that projected a holographic display. Would you like to see the results? Would I like to? Sarah stopped, taking a shaky breath. You're asking if I want to see 15 years of secret medical data you collected on me without my knowledge or consent? Yes. That's incredibly illegal on about 40 different levels. Technically, interstellar research protocols supersede local planetary laws, but I understand your point. Lyra's tone was carefully neutral. However, given that the monitoring has already occurred and cannot be undone, you might find the data interesting. You've had quite a remarkable 15 years, Sarah. Sarah's mind was still reeling, but curiosity, her perpetual weakness, was starting to win out over panic. Show me. Lyra expanded the holographic display, and suddenly Sarah was looking at a three-dimensional representation of herself at 17, gangly, awkward, with terrible haircut and worse fashion sense. This is when monitoring began, Lyra explained. You were selected because you exhibited unusual stress resilience combined with high cognitive function. The study's purpose was to track how humans with these characteristics develop through the challenges of modern Earth life. The display shifted, showing data streams Sarah barely understood, neural activity patterns, hormonal fluctuations, sleep quality metrics, stress response indicators. But interwoven with the medical data were annotations, and those were written in plain English. Subject experienced significant academic pressure during university years but maintained stable psychological profile. Romantic relationship failure at age 23 caused temporary stress spike, but recovery was remarkably rapid. Career transition at age 28 demonstrated adaptive problem solving and resilience building. Sarah read through the annotations, watching her life summarized in clinical observations. It should have felt violating. It did feel violating. But it was also weirdly validating to see her struggles and triumphs documented as significant, as worthy of study. You've been watching me through everything, she said quietly. Every breakup, every job interview, every late night crying about whether I was good enough. Yes, Lyra's voice was soft. And for what it's worth, Sarah, you've consistently demonstrated that you are more than good enough. Your psychological resilience is in the 97th percentile compared to other human subjects. Your ability to adapt to setbacks while maintaining core personality integrity is remarkable. Other subjects. How many are there? Globally, approximately 2,000 humans being monitored by various Zelathi researchers. It's a collaborative study spanning multiple institutions. 2,000 people having aliens watch them sleep every night. Sarah laughed, the sound slightly hysterical. And none of us knew. How is that possible? How has this not been discovered? We're very careful. We've been studying Earth for over a century, Sarah. We understand your media patterns, your conspiracy theory tendencies, your governmental structures. We know how to operate beneath notice. Lyra paused. Though I'll admit there have been some close calls. Several subjects have developed unusually strong intuition about being watched. You're actually one of them. The feeling of being observed. I've had that for years. Sarah thought back to all the times she'd checked her apartment, convinced someone was watching, finding nothing. God, I thought I was being paranoid. Not paranoid, perceptive. Your subconscious was processing sensory information your conscious mind couldn't access. Sarah stood up from the bed, needing to move to process. She paced to the window, looking out at Boston's skyline. Normal city, normal night, completely abnormal situation. What happens now? She asked, not turning around. You said you're leaving in 3 days, then what? Do I just go back to normal life knowing that I was part of some alien research project? Do I tell people? Would anyone believe me? Those are your choices to make, Lyra said. However, I should inform you that if you disclose this information publicly, we have protocols to manage the situation. Sarah spun around. Protocols? What kind of protocols? Nothing harmful, Lyra said quickly. But we can make evidence disappear, create alternative explanations, generally ensure that your claims appear to be stress-induced delusions rather than truth. It's not something I want to do, but the Confederation takes the secrecy of our research very seriously. So I'm just supposed to carry this knowledge alone, live with the fact that I was monitored for 15 years and never tell anyone. You could. Or, Lyra hesitated, and for the first time since appearing, she looked uncertain. Or you could come with me. Sarah stared. What? The study is ending, but there's a provision in the research protocol for voluntary continued participation. If a subject, once informed, chooses to engage with the research actively, they can join the project officially. Lyra's words came faster, like she was afraid Sarah would interrupt. You'd come to the Zelathi homeworld, work with our research teams, gain access to all the data we've collected not just on you, but on human development generally. You'd be compensated, given housing, and offered the opportunity to contribute to genuine interspecies scientific understanding. You're asking me to leave Earth, leave my job, my apartment, my life, to go into space with aliens who have been secretly studying me. Yes, that's insane. Probably, Lyra agreed. But is it more insane than continuing to live on Earth knowing what you now know? Never being able to talk about it, constantly wondering what else might be hidden, always looking over your shoulder. Sarah sank back onto the bed, her mind racing through implications. Why would you even want me to come? I'm not a scientist. I write code. I debug databases. I'm not qualified for xenobiological research. You're more qualified than you think. You have an analytical mind, strong pattern recognition, and 15 years of being unknowingly trained to adapt to complex situations. Lyra sat down carefully in Sarah's desk chair, maintaining respectful distance. But honestly, I'm asking because I want you to. I've spent 15 years monitoring you, Sarah, watching you grow from an uncertain teenager into a capable, resilient adult. I've celebrated your victories and worried during your struggles. I know it's ethically complicated, but I care about what happens to you. You care about your research subject. I care about you, Lyra corrected gently. The Confederation has rules against researchers developing personal attachment to subjects. It's considered a contamination of data objectivity, but watching someone every night for 15 years, it's impossible not to develop feelings. You're not just data to me anymore. You haven't been for a long time. Sarah looked at the alien, at Lyra, really looked at her. She saw the purple skin, the blonde hair that was so strange on a non-human frame, the violet eyes that held something that looked genuinely like affection. She thought about all those dreams of being watched, of being cared for by some unseen presence. She'd always dismissed them as her subconscious processing anxiety. What if they'd been something else? What if, on some level, she'd known she wasn't alone? I need time to think about this, Sarah said finally. You've dropped a massive revelation on me at 4 in the morning. I can't make a life-altering decision right now. Of course, you have 3 days. I'll continue monitoring with your knowledge now, and on the third night I'll come back for your answer. Lyra stood, moving toward the window with purpose. For what it's worth, Sarah, I hope you say yes. I think you'd find the work fascinating. And selfishly, I'd like the chance to know you as a person, not just as a subject. Wait, Sarah called as Lyra opened the window. One more question. Lyra paused. Have I been okay, according to your data? Have I been living a good life? Lyra's expression softened into something that looked remarkably like a smile. You've been more than okay, Sarah. You've been extraordinary. You've faced every challenge with courage, maintained your kindness despite hardships, and built a life that reflects your values. By every metric we measure, you're thriving. Something in Sarah's chest loosened. A knot of anxiety she hadn't realized she'd been carrying for years. Thank you for telling me that. It's simply the truth. Lyra climbed onto the windowsill with impossible grace. 3 days, Sarah, think about it. Then she was gone, disappearing into the night with technology Sarah couldn't begin to understand. Sarah stood at the window for a long time, watching the sky, thinking about choices and knowledge, and the strange comfort of learning she'd never been as alone as she thought. When she finally went back to bed, sleep came surprisingly easily. And for the first time in 15 years, she didn't dream of being watched. She dreamed of stars. 3 days later, Sarah submitted her resignation to Tech Dynamics, gave her apartment keys to her confused but accepting roommate, and stood in her empty bedroom with a single packed bag waiting. At 3:47 a.m. exactly, Lyra appeared at the window. You came back, Sarah said. I promised I would. Lyra's expression was carefully neutral, but her eyes held hope. Have you made your decision? Sarah shouldered her bag, moving toward the window. I have questions, thousands of questions, about the study, about Zelathi culture, about interspecies research ethics, about everything. I'll answer all of them. And I want full access to all data collected on human subjects, not just mine. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it as a partner, not a subject. Agreed. And I want to be able to contact Earth. I'm not disappearing without explanation. My family deserves to know I'm okay. We can arrange that. Sarah reached the window, looking out at the city she'd called home for 32 years. Then she looked at Lyra, at the alien who'd been her secret guardian for nearly half her life. Then yes, I'm coming with you. Lyra's smile was brilliant. Welcome to the team, Sarah Mitchell. As they left Earth's atmosphere in a ship Sarah couldn't see but could definitely feel, She thought about all the science fiction novels she'd stayed up late reading, all the dreams of